Morning gang, I am Ariakarias, and yeah, I just finished the Fusion Link Festival. That was pretty fun. Weirdly, surprisingly, and shockingly, given I played the absolute garbage throughout the entire event, but like, hey, sometimes something weird can happen, like you can get success with total garbage. And that's what happened today, and I'm pretty happy. Yeah, let's just get into it. This is Earthbound Immortal Fusion Slop, and this was the result of me giving up on a previous build I tried for the event, which just didn't cut it, and a build I'm testing the TCG with the prisoners. That being Fusion Slop, creative naming, I know. I'll be making a Junk Lab episode soon enough, I feel like, on that build. Regardless, let's talk about the event. So, I'm gonna talk about what I tried to play before this build, and then we're getting into the build proper, so if you really wanna skip it, there's gonna be the timestamp below. Alright, so my first build choice was Tearlaments. Yes, Tearlaments. Because it's Tearlaments, you can mill anything, and I thought that would be pretty decent because you can use Rainbow Bridge to grab Rise Off, or I suppose any field spell you feel like, but like there's not many good field spells other than Rise Off, Chicken Game, maybe Black Garden, and like, yeah, Tearlaments can mill stuff, but like you need to mill 3 specific pieces of your Earthbound stuff, and like you need to mill Earthbound Fusion and a Piscu and get a way to have a field spell on board to enable that, and then you can finally summon SP Little Knight, IP Masquerena to get your quote-unquote free nuke. Or you just have Nova Engrave, which is extra gambling anyways, like it doesn't really change much. You need 4 specific cards engraved to not summon Masquerena. You can also like use a Tear or Fiendsmith to summon Grimlina off of your Tearlaments names, or sequence summoning it, but like that's also very inconsistent. Like, sure, Fiendsmith is sorta free with Engraver plus a Light Fiend, but like you need 3 to 6 pieces of engine, specifically named pieces of engine engrave to enable your stupid Earthbound plays, and like at that point it's just not worth it. I played 3 games of Tearlaments, I've won all of them, sure, but like I've got 2 pieces of Earthbound at most engrave, and like they didn't do anything, and I won solely because Tearlaments is good enough to do this kind of stuff. The other builds I thought about, very funny, were Flu, which is completely banned, which is very funny, and the True Draco, which is also entirely banned. The reason I thought about these cards is because, well, you can tribute summon the Immortals and they have a really good field spell. That's pretty much it. The Flu build, pretty popular. You can summon either Wiracocharaska or use it as Small World Bridge and get a free hand loop, essentially. Or as Lapiscu for your nuke, which is sorta alright to get a comeback going. Well, comeback, quote-unquote, because you need to be winning to make Piscu, so like that doesn't make sense. Regardless, let's talk about True Draco. I don't care about Flu enough. True Draco is little more silly. Like you can play, what was it? Dragonoid? Generator. Oh yeah, Dragonoid Generator plus your True Dracos to be able to get as many tributes as possible to summon a Rerecorded and then get a hand loop, which is super inconsistent and super bad, but someone else did it with Egyptian gods, and I thought that was really funny, so like I had to think about it. It's very silly, I feel like. Although none of those builds really came to fruition because they were banned, and tournaments didn't really do anything outside of tournamenting, so like I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't think it was as fun. Anyways, let's get into the build proper. Fearsome Slop, Immortal, whatever. The goal of the deck is to summon Piscu, have Nova or Fusion or IP Masquerena send it to the grave, and then nuke your opponent. Yes, you can get multiple nukes in the grave in rotation, and that's very funny. It's not gonna happen very often, but like it's worth mentioning because it will happen eventually if you jam enough games. And yeah, that's the main goal. And the secondary win condition is Geokraken, which you can summon turn 0 with Nova, which also means you can technically, yes, use Fuvalos and Purulia and the Rescuer's Impulse. Phantasme if you're feeling spicy, but like I would rather not because there aren't enough link decks in the format to warrant Phantasme. Regardless, you can play a bunch of Novas and wait to draw Nova, and then use Kraken on the opponent's turn to get a free nuke. I won a game solely because Kraken just didn't allow my opponent to do anything. That's very funny, but it's also very bad. So like I would not recommend it unless you're trying to just troll people. Anyways, the Kraken win con is so consistent that sometimes you just don't need Piscu. Kraken is a nuke already and it's slightly easier to trigger and 20 times better, and it gives you a field spell which can give you more utility. Look, Piscu is fun. It's a nuke that works no matter what, even on your turn, so like technically it's sometimes better than Kraken. Look, I need excuses to make this. Oh yeah, it's also an Immortal, which means you can send it off Nova, which is not an excuse, it's actually a good reason. It's the entire reason I'm playing Chaka-Chalhua and Uru, in fact. But like, before those, let's talk about the big man. The man I've had beef with. Beef with digital pieces of cardboard, sure. Red Nova, which you play 7 copies of, one that only sends it to the grave, and one that recurs it for half infinite follow-up. Yeah, Nova is the sole reason that Earthbounds even work as their own deck in a format where the prisoners are not useful at all. Since the prisoners are really reliant on their synchros, especially yugioh. If Griffin were legal, the build would have pretty much been fully fine, so long as you have a level 9 or a level 11 to summon, but like synchros are not allowed, therefore Nova is the only way to play Earthbound pretty much. And Nova being able to recur itself, being decent in grind game, being addable off of Grimlina, it's just all so nice. It's pretty fun. Next we have Chaku-Chalhua and Uru. Chaku-Chalhua is just a burn effect attached on a guy with Immortal in the name, and that's good enough. You can get lethal sometimes if you summon this, but like it doesn't really matter much what these two Immortals are, so long as it's not Kusilu, because Kusilu's effect literally does not work. This is garbage. No. Any other Immortal is fine, except for maybe Kokaraihua. Kokaraihua isn't easily triggerable here, so like it's kind of bad. Rerecorded, just no, you would rather not use your normal summon. Actually, yeah, it's between Kokapakapu, Uru, and the Chaku-Chalhua. And since SP Little Knight is illegal and you cannot block yourself from attacking directly, Uru is strictly better than Kokapakapu, unfortunately. And Chaku-Chalhua has slightly different utility than Uru, I suppose. Uru can steal, Chakuch can burn. Neither matters much. Like Uru came up once, but like it was like okay to go for lethal. Not much else to say really. Next we have Fusion. Fusion is very important to the build. It's the only way to consistently, actually properly Fusion summon an Earthbound. And like I wish this were searchable off of Line Walker. Like Konami for some reason decided this guy could only search for 2 specific spells instead of the entire Earthbound back row lineup, which is unfortunate, but like you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. And speaking of Walker and Prison, these are just utility. This is the best normal summon you have that you can search off of Gremlina. You could argue for Keeper, but like Walker being able to add Prison is infinitely more valuable than Destruction Protection in this case, since this is far more versatile. Pretty much, and also you get the resummon effect, which is niche. You can use it for Kraken, you can use it to bounce back something like Elemental Hero Sunrise. Hold on, where is it? I suppose I can make the example of Lord Neos. This must be summoned with something, and therefore if you bounce it, they cannot resummon it, which is a way to completely get rid of whatever, and that's pretty cool. And then we have Gremlina and Kraken. Gremlina at 1 and Kraken at 2 because weirdly enough in the grind game I've found myself needing Kraken more often, which is weird to think about it, but like yeah, that happened. That's odd. Kraken is your quote-unquote backup plan off of Nova, but it's really the more consistent plan. And yeah, it's a nuke, it searches a field spell, which can be chicken game for you for draw power, and synergy with Souls with the Bellstar, or Zombie World for a floodgate. I feel like Black Garden would have been better than Zombie World. It clogs your opponent's zones and gives Asla Piscu more stuff to pop for a bigger damage nuke. And same goes with Kraken. Kraken can also pop stuff. You can technically kill your opponent with Kraken and Piscu on their turn with Black Garden. That's pretty cool. Especially since you can loop Piscu. That's very funny. But like it's not gonna happen very often. Zombie World did save me sometimes against Dark Magician and other tribal decks. Yeah, it really could have just been Black Garden though. Gremlina can just add Nova, can add Walker for utility, as I said before, and can add Piscu, which can be summoned off of Fusion, and that's really important to think about, you know. Not much else to say other than just, I suppose Keeper can technically be alright, but like it's not worth it. It's really not. If you're thinking about Geoglyph, don't. Like there's no Synchros to tribute. The targeting protection literally does not matter because like Piscu is gonna last on your board for 5 seconds before being sent to the grave to make your opponent explode, so like it's not gonna matter. And plus, if you really oh yeah, you can't even search. I thought that was on tribute summon for some reason. Anyways, let's talk about Branded, which has been shockingly great. I know, good engine is good. Yeah, alright. So like 1 Albaz, 1 Kit, 1 Breifu, and a bunch of fusions. I'm not sure if I should have played more enablers like Alubus or Opening or whatever, but like I feel like this is fine. I think hard drawing Branded Fusion lets you summon Lubellion with Nova to then make Mirror Jade and have a Nova already in rotation. That's pretty cool. Well, like I'm not sure. I'm kind of scared of hand traps. Like I would rather have more quantity of varied extenders rather than one specific really powerful enabler. You know. but like it could have maybe been better. I don't know. I haven't tested this build much. I played it for like 2 days, and that's it. But like that's pretty nice. If you hard summon Mirror Jade off of Brand of Fusion, you can send Sprint, which can give you a kit, and then on your following turn, you can use Lubellion. Lubellion can also summon Kraken or Gremlina, and that's really fun. I really like it. It's really cool. If you don't, and instead use Verte, you can send Rimbrom, and Rimbrom can summon Albaz, which is 2 disruptions instead of 1. And Verte is important to note here, because since there's no SP Little Knight, you don't really have a good Link 2 that's a decent win con. Outside of, I suppose, not even actually. IP into Azalea is just worse than Mirror Jade for, I suppose, no bricks, but like Brand of Fusion isn't really a brick here, so like I feel like it's fine. And then we have Souls. Souls can send Chicken Game, can send Rights, can send Gaia. It's just good draw power and can enable you to summon Verte more easily, and that's pretty good. Next is Azamina, and the more I played Azamina, the more I realized this doesn't do anything in this deck. Like, yeah, you do get the Omni Negate off of Sylvia, but like that's it. I tried Sinful Puzzle White Forest. It's just not consistent enough for me to consider it good, really. Like, you have 4 copies. I feel like Patchwork Engine could have been slightly better, maybe. I'll talk about that later, but like, if you add Sinful Puzzle White Forest off of Murashilago, you either need to summon Verte with it, and then get Hollowed plus Sinful Puzzle White Forest in hand, or you need to give up Hollowed Azamina, Sylvia to use Sinful Puzzle White Forest, and that was really weird. Like, the whole point of the engine is pretty much to just make the Omni at this point, and it's not very consistent. The searchable fusion spell is not worth it when you can't really use it consistently. Like, if you send Murashilago to grave, you're not gonna have a Fiend spellcaster or an illusion to use Simple Puzzle White Forest, and that's just so clunky. Like, you don't have a normal summon off of your Earthbounds. You have Souls, but you're playing it as 6 copies. It's just very clunky. And then utility slots, just free triple tag, free Forbidden Droplet. These are breakers that also are decent going first, and that's why I'm playing them over Fuvalos. I feel like more power going second, that's not just relying on your opponent playing into your stuff, is slightly better. Like, Forbidden Droplet just cannot be responded to, and triple tag is good bait on your turn, which means your gas can go through, and so like your opponent doesn't really have the ability to Ash Fuvalos then deal with your gas. They have to deal with both your gas and your non-engine, which I feel like is important to mention, because I really think that makes a difference. Now we have Dark, which is a summon off of IP. If you're going for Piscu, since you're not really gonna need stuff to remove other stuff on board when Piscu is nuking the board. So like Unicorn and Azalea are fine, but like not really for if you're going for IP and therefore Piscu. Like, you're only going for IP if you're going for Piscu, pretty much. Azalea is still there because it's a good utility slot. It's one of the few decent link to removals. I suppose Nightmare Phoenix is alright, but like you're all light and darks anyways. You might as well play it. Muckracker could literally just be anything. If you really wanna, you could play Nightmare Unicorn or something. Nightmare Unicorn or something. yeah, there's not much else to say, I feel like. So let's jump into stuff I thought about playing, aka a small tournaments package. Funny, huh? Which consists of 3 Grief and 1 Shyren. This basically acts as a miracle fusion that gives you an additional material, and also Shyren isn't a dead brick, because it can summon itself, and that's alright, I suppose. Not much else to say. Let's just remove Azamina, actually. Okay. Oh yeah, forgot to mention the Albaz dragons. Specifically Titanclad. Like, it can be used for Albaz on your opponent's turn after Rimbram, sure, but it's also a beat stick. Like, yes, you can summon Nova, which I have done. Yeah, it seems absurd, but I have summoned Nova pretty often. But like, Nova has 3500 attack, but just not enough, and you can't summon Nova consistently enough to make that worthwhile. So like, I decided to play Titanclad, which can be summoned off a Branded Fusion using Nova as well, and I think that's pretty cool. And it's also a big bungus. Back to tier. The problem is just that you don't... If you fuse Nova, you can't really get it back, which is something that's technically remedied by this engine, Patchwork. But like, without the Bellstar, funnily enough, you don't really have a way to send Chain, which I feel like 2 additional bricks is kind of yucky. So like, it's just weird. I could have tried it actually. That... Thank you, motorcycle. It's outside my home. So like, I should have tried it, I think. But like, it's too late. I feel like just saying, I could have maybe used it is the best I can do right now. Next, we have... not much actually. Oh yeah, Frost. This is the reason I have double fusion this recent, because of Frost. Like, you can play double fusion as a search target off of Frost. It can either act as polymerization or get you 2 fusions, which is never gonna come up pretty much. If this were if we had a miracle fusion like Mutiny in the Sky, Frost package would have been 20 times better, but that's not the world we live in, so we just play double fusion. It's kind of weird, like, I'm not sure if it would have come up. Frost would have been better than Azamina, but like, there are many other good fusion engines other than those. I thought about Fiendsmith. It's the best, I think, engine to play for your goofy owl purposes. Sanct is pretty much an additional copy of Foolish Burial, giving you can summon Ether. You can summon Aerial Ether. Hello, Aerial Ether, and then send the Nova. But like, it's just a lot of bricks. I'm not sure. Like, there's so much stuff to be done here. Just, I'm not sure about any of it. Without Prisoner, it's just so clunky. I feel like Patchwork is probably the best secondary engine for this. Like, you could play also. Alright, I'm here to interrupt your regularly scheduled area yapping because like I lost some parts of the audio and like I went into a downward spiral on I don't know how to put a small branded package into this deck and whatever. Just enjoy the replays, alright? I'll see you in the next one.